All right, guys, so the progressives, the squad just took a massive L yesterday as progressive champion, progressive savior, the person that was going to come into the house and take the squad to the next level. Nina Turner lost in her Ohio U.S. House race to establishment-backed candidate Shontel Brown. Right now, Shontel Brown's a Democrat. And Nina Turner, who's a progressive, lost to an establishment Democrat candidate. Now, again, the progressives are upset about this because, again, guys, I'm telling you, they were putting everything into Nina Turner, okay? Because remember how I was telling you how there's criticism from the left that, you know, AOC and the current squad, they are weak, okay? They are weak sauce, right? So you need a stronger progressive voice like Nina Turner, who talks big game, right? She talks big game. I can't lie. She's very good at public speaking. She really is. They thought that, you know, she was going to come in, she was going to blow out this race because America loves progressive policies, right? Everybody loves it. It's just the establishment is keeping them from winning, right? The voters know that they want progressives. So they thought that she was going to win. And unfortunately, that just didn't turn out to be true. And I want you guys to watch TYT's coverage of this as they have an epic meltdown over this loss. Take a look.
It's over. So Nina's lost in a stunning upset. Nina was the favorite. She was always the favorite, and she did. The poll was real. She did have a 35-point lead at one point, and then millions and millions and millions of dollars came in lobbyist money and establishment endorsements, and they took her out. That's what happened. And now I'm super curious to see how, you know, mainstream media is going to cover it. Very likely they will cover it as Dave Weigel predicted on this show. He's a Washington Post reporter, and they will probably say progressives lost and establishment, and the voters love the establishment. The voters chose the beloved establishment. They will of course leave out the part where they lied to the voters and did not give them the accurate information on who actually had what positions. They will leave out the Democratic Majority for Israel sent the voters mailers telling them that Nina Turner was against $15 minimum wage and against universal health care. They just flat out lied because that's what lobbyists do. They're liars. And the press barely covered it. Barely covered it. Because they think lobbyists lying on behalf of the establishment is wonderful politics and should be celebrated, crafty. Now, of course, if Republicans do it, that's a little different. Then you should frown upon them. But when corporate Democrats do it, oh, it's wonderful, wonderful to be celebrated. So I'm sure that they're thrilled and having the time of their lives in corporate media right now, and of course among corporate politicians. They're thrilled. The threat of Nina Turner being the leader of progressives has been, in their minds, extinguished. I don't think that's the case at all. This once before, but a lot of you might not have seen it, and it's very relevant to Nina's race. So when they go into the voting booth, they do not know about politics as much as you do or I do, right? Every voter cares about politics to some degree because they showed up to vote, but it's not their life. They don't know all the details. Everybody makes the classic mistake, assuming that their perspective is everybody's perspective. So since if you're a Young Turks member, you probably know a lot about politics. So you think, oh, those voters probably know a lot, right? No, most voters know very, very little when they walk into the voting booth. And here I can prove it to you really easy. When you're voting in a local race, and some of you might be really gung-ho about local races and you might know them, but most of you, like me, honestly, when I go in to look at local races, I'm like,
all right, guys, so as you can see that Jink is not happy, right? He's not happy at all. And they come up with all types of excuses in the books to defend this L, okay? They come up with all types of excuses. They're trying to say, well, you know, it was the dark money. It was the mean ads, okay? The voters are dumb, right? All types of stuff. And every time you look, I'm like, wait, isn't this what happens in every single election, right? Candidates raise money in every single election. Matter of fact, Nina Turner raised $4.5 million during her cycle which is more than twice as much as her opponent, Shontel Brown, raised, which is $2.1 million. And I will say that that figure for Shontel Brown could be higher because there is dark money in politics. So that might not be counted in that figure. But at the same time, Nina Turner had money, right? She had money. Money was not the issue. Now, what ended up happening was that Nina Turner was ahead in the race. She was leading, right? It looked like she was about to be a blowout. But in the last few weeks and months leading up to the election, the Democrat establishment endorsed Shontel Brown, right? In numbers, like everybody endorsed her, okay? Everybody, all the Democrats endorsed her. They actually started running ads in which they were basically framing Nina Turner as anti-Biden, right? She's anti-Democrat. She's not necessarily a team player, right? And she's also against Israel, okay? She's against Israel. And because of that, what happened was that worked, right? Those ads and those attacks obviously worked because that Ohio district, the 11th district, is heavily Democratic, right? But it's not heavily progressive, okay? Hillary Clinton won the primaries in 2016 there. It's not a progressive district. They are straight up Biden, right? That's what they are. They're Biden, okay? And, hey, it is what it is. They lost, right? But TYT made up every excuse in the book as if, Nina Turner couldn't run her own ads, right? Basically rebuting anything that the establishment was saying about her. She raised a lot of money as well, right? Money was not the issue. Money was not why she lost. The reason why she lost is because those people don't want progressive policies. They don't. They don't want those progressive policies. And this is what I try to tell people, when the progressives always want to talk about, well, our policies are so popular, everybody wants our policies. And I'm like, bruh, that's just not empirically true, right? If progressive policies were so popular, there would be more progressives in Congress. Now, don't get me wrong. The Democrat Party is moving left, but they ain't that far left. They're not AOC left, okay? They're not Ilhan Omar, Cori Bush left. They're not. Right? That's the reason why the Democrats are so gun-ho about trying to change the narrative on defund the police. That's why they're out here praising these Capitol Police officers, right? Acting like, they're God's angels, okay? While at the same time, last year, demonizing police. They realized that in the 2020 election, they got killed by Republicans in these House races because of the defund the police narrative. So they're like, okay, we got to pull back from that. People don't want that. Look what happened in New York, right? Eric Adams, the more moderate Democrat / pro-police candidate, won, okay? In New York, heavily Democratic, right? And pretty progressive as well, city. A moderate Democrat won. An established Democrat candidate won. Now this is happening in Ohio. What that shows you, what that tells you is that people don't want these policies. They don't want progressive policies. It just is what it is. And TYT and the progressives need to own up to that. You're too far left. It is what it is, right? Now, it's funny because last week, Jink spent time talking mad trash about Trump and Trump's candidate in Texas losing, right? Basically implying that, hey, Trump's grip is loosened on the Republican Party. Trump's influence is less because Trump candidate lost in Texas. However, this week, a Trump-backed candidate, Mike Carey, won a GOP special election primary in Ohio's 15th district. So, yeah, Trump might have lost there, but a Trump-backed candidate just beat an establishment Republican candidate in Ohio's election primary. So, yeah, Trump's grip is still pretty strong on the Republican Party. Let's not make no mistake here. So that's really a little bit more about this election because this is an important win for Trump. Because, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, if this guy would have lost, right? Yeah, it would have been bad news for Trump. It definitely would have not been a good sign. It would have been a sign that maybe Trump is losing influence. But that's not what happened. So let's read here. Mike Carey, a coal industry lobbyist endorsed by former President Donald Trump, has won a Republican primary in Ohio's 15th Congressional District, the Associated Press projected Tuesday. The race was closely watched in the final days after a Trump-endorsed candidate lost in a special House election in Texas last week. A Carey loss would have raised further questions about Trump's ability to steer a stable future for the GOP. Tonight, Republicans across Ohio's 15th district sent a clear message to the nation that President Donald J. Trump is, without a doubt, the leader of our party. Carey said in his victory statement, "I cannot be more grateful for his support, and I am proud to deliver this win to advance his America First agenda." Carey will face Representative Allison Russo, who the Associated Press projected Tuesday won the Democratic nomination in November. The seat opened in May when Republican Representative Steve Stiers resigned for a job in the private sector. The district stretches from Columbia suburbs into rural southeastern Ohio. Since he left office in January, Trump has encouraged speculation that he might run for president again in 2024 and has worked to assert his influence by endorsing in messy GOP primaries and pushing his own policy agenda. In Texas, however, Representative Jake Elzy, a former state legislator, beat Trump-backed candidate Susan Wright for the 6th Congressional District seat that had been represented by Wright's late husband. And Senate Republicans have so far ignored his threats of lots of primaries for those who compromise with Democrats on an infrastructure spending deal. Carey's victory spared Trump another high-profile political embarrassment and showed that his endorsement carries weight. Trump went all out for Carey, giving him time on stage at a rally in June far outside the district of Wilmington, Ohio. Corey Lewandowski, a Trump advisor, steered financial help through the Make America Great action-packed group he runs. The group poured in at least $350,000 in last-minute spending to boost Carey, including text messages and digital and television advertising. Quote, "Great Republican win for Mike Carey. Big numbers. Thank you to Ohio and all our wonderful American patriots," Trump said in a statement Tuesday night. Okay, so, yeah, listen. Trump picked up, a major victory, okay, which is good for him, right? Which shows that, he does still have some grip on the Republican Party. Now, obviously, he's not going to win, every single race, okay, because voters are diverse, right? Obviously, there's a portion of the Republican base that's not as pro-Trump, right? So it is what it is, but he did win. Okay, but with that being said, to be fair here, there is one more test for this candidate, as he will have to face a Democrat in the general election, and this district is it leans Republican, okay, but it's not so Republican that a Democrat can't win, okay, but it's pretty solidly Republican. So that's really the next test for Trump, right? If Trump candidates can win general elections, right, it's no surprise they can win primaries. But if they can win general elections, then that is a really good sign for Trump, because those are the people that are actually going to get in office. So it will be interesting to see moving forward how this shapes out for Trump. Obviously, he's very active, and he has a lot at stake in terms of having his candidates win. They have to, because if they don't win, right, and he cannot successfully primary some of these establishment Republicans, then what happens is that he becomes less influential over policy in the direction of the party. Right, and we all know that the establishment wants Trump to be less influential, okay? That's what the McConnells and probably the Kevin McCarthy's, despite what he says, that's what they want, okay? That's what they want. So, again, this was a W for Trump. Progressives took a major, major, major L. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.